do the opposite because I know how he thinks. He doesn't like conflict, doesn't like to ruffle feathers. But sometimes in my business, I have to change the same old that doesn't work for these owners. I need to ruffle feathers. I need to come in and give them reasons why to make changes. So sometimes I do what the opposite of my dad suggests intentionally. And so he does definitely, he's in a weird way a mentor in that way.
Well, it's good to have opposite views because it gives you both sides of the picture.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
this way you can anticipate, well, maybe somebody would react this way, or maybe they would look at it this way. So I think it's fabulous that you have both sides. Now, let me ask you, though, you're one of three girls, triplets.
Mm-hmm.
What do your sisters do? Have they gotten involved in this kind of business or working with?
Well, let's see. Michelle, who's the oldest, was the artist of the family, kind of took after my mom. And she has a boutique in Manhattan and lives the life of a New Yorker. She moved there to go to Parsons back when she graduated high school. And she was intended to go into fashion. That didn't work out. She didn't like the fashion industry is not as great as people think. And so she opened a store shortly after 9/11 and has been very successful with that. The middle one, Kathleen, actually works for my dad. Now, Kathleen started working for my dad when she graduated high school. She didn't really go to college, but she started working for my dad and moved up through the company. My dad is semi-retired, so she now is the COO of the company. And just so you know, I have never done any work for their company as a consultant, which is good. So,
well, it's interesting because your parents raised three successful daughters, which is fabulous. And I think it's wonderful that you got all of this. But you also have got to run into people who are worried or they have a lot of anxiety and guilt. What would you suggest to them for, if you met someone and they wanted to change? Of course, that's the key. They have to want to change. It can't be just an amazing miracle. So what do you suggest to somebody who you meet who is like that?
Well, first off, I think that we as individuals have to hold ourselves accountable for the position we're in. If we start saying, I'm in this dead-end job because no one will hire me, or because my husband won't let me quit, or because I need the money, where you're putting the blame on others or other situations, it's going to be very difficult to break out. I think that you have to identify why you want to do it and do it for yourself and do it for the right reasons. And that may be the typical, writing it down on a piece of paper. What are the pros and cons for changing or breaking out or starting my own business? What kind of risks am I taking? Am I willing to deal with those risks? Do I have a support group that if I fall flat on my face, I'm not going to be homeless? There's places I can go. There's people I can seek out to help me. I think that really doing it for yourself and thinking it through, and realizing that you are going to make some mistakes, but as long as they're not multi-million-dollar mistakes. I did development for years, and I dealt with projects that were $40 million projects. And when you make a mistake, typically on a $40 million project, it's not a $10 mistake.
Yeah, right.
I did a draw once where I submitted a request and added too many zeros onto the request. Fortunately, it got caught, but that was pretty embarrassing. But, you have to be willing to make mistakes. And if you're nervous about it, find somebody. There are business coaches out there. There are organizations that help people start their own small businesses. Find somebody that you can talk to that can help you figure out why you want to do it, what you're going to do, and what you want the end result to be. Because you need to have those three components to at least get off your butt.
I agree with you. You've got to do that. And, you've got to acknowledge your mistakes. And I think another part that's very big of living a regret-free life, which is not an easy thing to do, is to forgive. You have to have forgiveness. You've got to be able to forgive people who you blame for a lot of different things. And as much as it hurts, it's something you have to do or you can't move forward. But have you ever broken a bad habit?
I have. Um, who hasn't, right? I mean, I used to smoke. I quit many years ago. I smoked all through college, and quit for a number of years. When I got divorced, I picked it back up again, quit that. And it was tough. It was hard. But, there's a saying, Michael Hyatt, and I don't know if you know him, but I follow him quite a bit. And one of the things that he says is that you have to get off your butt and over your butts.
I like that. Yeah, I know Michael is, and he is quite good. He's got some good sayings. Yeah.
Yes. And I probably said it backwards a little bit. I apologize. But the concept is that you're your own worst enemy when it comes to either starting something new or breaking a bad habit. Often it's the internal that holds you back. But most of the time we blame the external. So if you can figure out what that internal is and overcome it or ignore it, sometimes that's all you need.
That's true. That is very true. So in everything that you're doing, because you're running a large business,
Mm-hmm.
how do you stay up? What do you do to live regret-free?
Well, there's a couple things. Right now I'm in Cincinnati, so I travel a lot. I was in Kentucky last week. I'm going to be in Michigan again this week, and then Phoenix next week, and Wyoming the end of that week. So one of the things I really try to do is eat healthy, sleep, and get exercise. And I also believe in focusing on good. Instead of always saying the glass is half empty, it's half full. And what can I do to fill it up a little bit more? Always surround yourself with positive people, those people that are negative, that, woe is me, you have no idea what I'm going through, or, let me get a pill to make me happy. Those aren't people that I surround myself with.
That's a very big key, Elaine, isn't it? It's who you
Mm-hmm.
surround yourself with, isn't it? Who was it? I guess it was Jim Rohn who said your success is equal to the 5 people you surround yourself with, and it's really true. I mean, the people that are around you are key to not only making you feel good, but also feeding you the kind of information that makes your head really work.
Right. They need to challenge you to a certain extent. I mean, you don't want to be surrounded by yes men, but you also want to be surrounded with people who are going to say, well, what if we did it this way? But they also have to be, let's do something. Sometimes the negative is those people that sit there and wait for you to do it for them. So I like working with clients that want to make changes. I mean, typically we're called because they need a change. I'm in Cincinnati with a client right now that is having a challenge with a renovation, and they've got a huge occupancy problem. So we're here analyzing it for a couple of days, but really figuring out and working with the staff what works, what doesn't work, and realizing that they want to make a change, which is that's when I'm a catalyst for change. I can't make them change. I'm not their supervisor.
No,
but I
right.
can give them the tools, and I can be the catalyst for change, and that's what I like.
Well, I'll tell you something. You have really lived a wonderful life, and you've had some challenges, but you've certainly overcome them. I'd like our audience to know how to get in touch with you. What is your best way to reach you? Your website or your email or whatever you'd like the listeners to have?
Sure. You can go to our website, which is probably the easiest, and there's additional contact information there. And our website is www.occupancysolutions.com.
occupancysolutions.com. Well, we are talking about living regret-free, but Elaine is also a role model for how you are a woman in business, especially in a man's world, which is what she's in, because my husband was a contractor, so I know that world very well. And I'm glad to have a young looking blonde in it, because I'm sure you do very, very well from what you say. But we really appreciate having you today, Elaine. Again, her website is occupancysolutions.com. If you want more information on Elaine or what she does or her company, or you're interested in hiring her, that's where you should go. Honestly, Elaine, it has been a joy talking with you, and continued best wishes.
Thank you so much.